Alright guys, for the first ever Fly Factory tie, today I'm going to be tying you guys a super simple, super effective mini streamer for brook trout and rainbow trout. I'm sure still water fishing it'll also work great for bluegill, panfish, and even bass. So the materials are pretty simple. First thing you're going to need is a hook. This is going to be a Gamakatsu 90-degree heavy wire jig hook, and I believe this is a size 2. Get that in there. Actually, then you're going to be needing a bead. I'm just going to be using a simple orange bead. I believe this is the size up from a 5/16, and you're just going to put that on there. And then really the only material you're going to need to make this as simple as it gets is rabbit strip. So I'm just going to be using this kind of tannish green rabbit strip, and also some Flashabou just to give it a little bit of flash, because on the North Shore I think the dirtier water is awesome when you have a lot of flash on there. So that's all you're going to need. And to get started, we have some weight on here already, but we can always add more. I'm going to keep it off for this one, but if you wanted to put a couple wraps of lead wire, you could do that as well. So I'm just going to start a thread and work it back. Just about where that hook point is, trim off my tag end, and I'm going to grab my rabbit strip, and I'm going to look at and see which way it's flowing, and this one's kind of janky. It's not really flowing one way or another, so I'm going to go this way, and we are going to line that up. It's not a really long streamer, so you're going to line it up, basically see how long that rabbit fur is, and we're not going to put a whole lot on there. We might do a little bit extra just because when we're fishing, if we feel it's too long, we can always cut it off. And one tip to do here is wet your fingers and then just wet both sides of the rabbit fur down. That way it's not in your way when you're trying to tie it in. That's a little bit long. That's better. Wet fingers. And we're just going to place that down right on the center there. Do a couple loose wraps just so that it sits in place where we want it. And then cinch that down. Do a couple tighter wraps. And then pull that back. Tie above it. The only reason that it's kind of nice to put some lead wire on here is you don't have your bead sliding around a whole lot when you're trying to tie. So this is where the customization kind of comes into effect. You can either take some Flashabou, or you could also, well, you could also use something like this. These are some kind of like barred wood duck feathers that one of my roommates managed to get for me this fall. They're duck hunting. And a cool little tip that I just kind of started doing with the Flashabou, you can pull it out of the bottom here, but it's kind of annoying. You can see that it's all kind of wrapped up and tangled when you try and push this down. A cool little tip that I kind of figured out is to just cut a little slot right in the top here. Try not to cut any of the flash. Just a little slot. And you can take something like a whip finish tool and just grab a couple of those fibers. I didn't even do that on camera. And you can just grab a couple of those fibers and pull it out from the top. They're all wrapped up, so it's kind of hard to do, but you can just grab them out like that. That way it's not ripping all these fibers out, you're just grabbing a couple of them at a time. So I took way more than I'm going to use here. I'm only going to probably take 3, I got 4 here, 4 Flashabou fibers, and they don't need to be super long. You can taper them if you want so that they're not all the same length. And then I'm going to just measure them out on here where I want them to go. And we're just going to tie on this side to start. Do a couple loose wraps. And then we'll take this and we're going to wrap it around on the other side. Try and get it somewhat symmetrical. I don't think the fish are going to really care because you're going to be moving it pretty quick through the water. Then I will just cut to size the other side there. So now that we've got that, we're going to take our rabbit strip, and it looks like it's going to want to bend on this side. Make sure you bring your thread to the top so that you're not trying to wrap over that again. And it looks like it's going to want to wrap on that side, so we'll do that. And I don't think you need to add a ton onto here. I think it looks better with a little bit sparser, more open wraps. You don't need to have them super tight on each other. And then you are just going to wrap towards the front of the hook. A little bit of fiber flying all over the place, that's alright. And then we are just going to tie that off. Well, actually, we'll do one more. Just making sure that we're not tying any of these fibers down. And then we will just wrap that off. And I'll cut that out. It's alright to leave a little bit of a tag in there, because then you can tie over that and just really lock down that rabbit strip. Doesn't have to be super pretty. And then two things with the bead. You can either have it pressed up like I have it currently, which is what I'm trying to do. In other times past, if I've packed this with a lot of rabbit strip, it'll actually come forward here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it there. You can kind of see it like that. That works just as fine too, as long as you've got enough space to tie the hook on there. I don't think it's a big deal. So really, this fly, you can have it be done, or if you want to be a little extra, you can take some of your wood duck feathers, and I think this just looks kind of cool. And I will just tie one on each side. I'll just cut that out. Do the same thing on the other side. I think it just looks more fishy. I think any fly with these flank feathers, I believe are what they're called, I think they just look way fishier than just leaving it as is. But I really think this is a pretty effective fly, and you don't need to make it super crazy. I think that's what makes it so good, is that it's just so easy to tie, and I can whip up a dozen of these things in an hour. So you got that flank on there, and you could tie it off here. I don't really like to see that little gap in between there, so I'm going to do a quick dubbing loop, and then I'm going to take some more of my rabbit strip, and I don't think you need a ton here. Sparse is alright, you don't need a ton. And just line that up. And cut off the end there, and then spin this up. I haven't used this for bass, but I'm imagining that bass, springtime, or really any time, would probably just destroy this thing. So we're just going to bring that in. We're going to brush the fibers back every time we wrap it, so that way we get a nice body here going backwards. Make sure that's nice and tight. And then we're going to take our thread. I'd say go over that once and then pull the opposite way. Put a lot of tension on that. That way it's not going to slip. You can take that out. And I will just finish this fly and cut out the rest of that dubbing loop once it's done here. And then you can see when I blow on that, lots of movement, lots of action, and I think that's on the North Shore, at least where I'm fishing, pretty key for catching these brook trout. They're pretty aggressive, especially even in the summertime, but after a good rain, it is just game on. They are so much fun to catch. You can go out on some of the smaller streams and catch a lot of these fish, and they're usually pretty grouped up, so when you catch one, you're probably going to catch or run into quite a few more. So just 2 quick. I like to do 2. I don't know. I always worry that 1 whip finish might fail on me. It probably won't, but. And that is a very simple, very effective jig fly for brook trout, rainbow trout. Also cut out that dubbing loop. And like I said, you could probably catch a lot of bass on that simple fly. So this is the first video that I'm making. I think I'm just going to make a lot of fly tying videos from now on. Do a little bit of fishing videos now and then, but for now, that is going to do it for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to subscribe for more of these to come in the future. And if you tie this pattern, good luck. Hold on tight. This fish is crazy cool looking. Feisty. Gosh. Ah! Don't fall off. Look at that fish. Oh my gosh. Wait. Look at that fish. Oh my gosh. Oh, streamer eater. Epic.